I tried one new thing for every month of 2024. And today, I'm going to rank every single thing I tried on a tier list. For anyone who wants to watch the whole series first and then come back to this video, they're all under the Shorts tab of my channel's main page, and I'll even leave the link to the first episode in the comments below. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because it would really help me out so much, guys. And let's get right into it. Okay, first up, we have the guitar. I didn't really do that much with this, at least not as much as I would have liked to for the series, but I taught myself a couple chords and I'll take that. Still counts as something. Still, I think learning to play guitar or a new instrument in general is one of those things that you're better off learning from someone else than trying to teach yourself using the internet. Is this something that I would want to revisit? Sure. Just not in the near future. Maybe in the more semi-distant future, I'd say. For now, I'm going to put this at C tier. Duolingo. I downloaded this in February to help teach myself some Italian for when I went on my study abroad trip to Italy a few months later, and this was such a big help for that. I chipped away at my lessons a little bit almost every day from the day I downloaded the app leading up to my study abroad trip, and I eventually had my first full conversation in Italian when I was there. Plus, I was able to find my way around places and order food at restaurants in the language I never learned growing up without so much as a second thought. S tier. So yeah, this was really useful and I'd highly recommend it. And Duolingo, if you guys want to sponsor one of my future videos, my DMs are open. Mahjong. Not gonna lie, you guys, I still have no idea how this game works. I was just like randomly tapping on tiles, hoping I'd find a match. And half of the time I did tap matching tiles, the game wouldn't count them. Some people in the comments for that video said that I wasn't playing actual Mahjong, but like a knockoff version of it. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna let the old people have this one. D tier. Connections. I don't know how many of you guys play Wordle at home. I know my family does, and I check it sometimes once every week or every other week at the most. But if you really like Wordle, then I think you'd also really like this game. You get a bunch of random words and you have to group them together without knowing how they relate to each other. I liked playing it. I meant to revisit it for another episode in the series, which I unfortunately didn't do because my schedule got so jam-packed. But this is something I would do again. A tier. Lascopa. Guys, I have no idea how this one works either. D tier. Okay, here's a really fun one. One night during my study abroad trip in Italy, some friends and I went to this really cool, pun intended, bar where everything was made of ice. The glasses our drinks came in, the walls, most of the seats, and apparently there's a bunch of these all around the world, but it was also kind of small and really overcramped. So it was hard to move around depending on what part of the bar you were in. I forget the name of the drink I got while I was there, but I remember liking it and that it was included with the cover charge to get in. I'm gonna put this at A tier, but I think in theory I would have put it at S tier if there was more room inside and overall just a more lively atmosphere. I feel like those were the two main things it was missing. Otherwise, it was a pretty fun time. Steak. Anyone who knows me personally, like really personally, knows I'm a huge meat guy. Pause. I've had steak a bunch throughout my life. I practically was born with steak sauce in my veins. But one thing I'd never done up until a few months ago was prepare a steak from scratch. I'm talking cutting the meat, seasoning it, grilling it, all of that stuff. I did the whole thing from scratch with a little help from my mom off camera because she's a little camera shy, but I cut her a break. Now this was months and months ago, but I remember the steak came out really awesome and there was something a little extra special about it because I did almost all the work myself compared to like if we just gotten takeout or something. I think this definitely deserves an S tier. Shadow art. Now I decided to add this in super last minute because I saw an Instagram post about it, but when I did it, it was honestly kind of underwhelming. D tier. Sorry to like the 5 shadow artists watching this video. Haikus. This I actually had a pretty great experience with. For anyone who doesn't know, haikus are a very short form of traditional Japanese poetry, typically centering around nature and the universe and stuff like that. I've written a lot of stuff before, essays for classes, scripts for YouTube videos like this one, or film projects, but I had a much harder time with this one because I was limited to 15 syllables. Not words, syllables. Meaning I had to make every single one count. But the reason this went better than I thought it did is because I actually have a friend from Japan who's an international student at the college I just graduated from. So naturally, I asked him for some advice because I figured there might be a really good chance he learned how to write these when he was in grade school. And he actually gave me some really great feedback. I don't know how likely I am to do this again before I'm at least 40, but I had a great experience with it. So I'm just gonna slide this into B tier. Next up, parkour. We all know this either from watching parkour videos on TikTok or from that one episode of The Office. Some of you watching this probably do it. My friend Dylan does, and he actually taught me some basic parkour moves a few months ago. And I picked them up surprisingly fast, even though I was wearing jeans and barely knew what I was doing. But there were some moves that he was showing me that I just mentally could not bring myself to do because I was just so afraid of falling and hurting myself. Luigi knows better than anybody. Healthcare is really tough out here. And I knew it would make for a really dumb story if I broke my leg doing parkour in a parking garage. Don't get me wrong, in theory, being good at parkour could be really cool, but I'm not entirely sure it's meant for me. So for that reason, I think it belongs in B tier. GeoGuessr. This was another online game I did, and this one is actually pretty decently popular. The concept is very simple. You're shown a random place on Earth, and you have to guess where it is using whatever surroundings you can find from a full 360 view. I thought it was okay. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but surprisingly, people have done speedruns of it. I don't know, I had an okay time doing it, but it's not something that I'm rushing to play again. C tier. And that brings us to the last thing, Spelling Bee. This is yet another game on the New York Times website you can play for free. It's kind of like Wordle, except you're given a bunch of letters and you have to make as many words with them as you can. There's two catches though. They have to be 4 letters long or more, and they all have to include the letter in the middle. I found out both of these things the hard way while playing it, but once I figured that out, I made some pretty decent progress. Like with Connections, I haven't revisited the game since, but I had a lot of fun with it. And something I'm considering doing, if you guys would want to watch it, is live streaming it either every day or every couple days until I eventually reach the Genius rank. That's the highest rank you can get in the game, and boy is it hard to do. So let me know if you guys would want to see that. In the meantime, I'm going to put this at A tier. If you made it this far, comment something you want to try for the first time in 2025. Could be anything. A new hobby, activity, visiting a new place for the first time. Maybe you've never had Korean barbecue and you want to try that. I've had it. It's really good. Thanks for watching. Peace out, Swozz Nation.